It's another edition of Time About the Movies. We begin a new month, September 7th, 1990, and, well, only one new movie came out, but there's another movie I'm going to add to here, so we at least have a complete show to look at. So, let's go ahead and get right to it. Let's go ahead and talk about that one movie I added because, well, here's the thing. It was originally supposed to be released in 86 and 87. It came out in 89 in a number of different countries around the world. It came out on video in 1991 here in America, and apparently it had a theatrical release in 1990, according to Wikipedia, so I'm just going to go off on that. But, yeah, let's talk about the Felix the Cat movie.
Dreamer who charmed the world. The hero who never gave up. The clown who became one of the most beloved characters in animated history. And now, Felix is a major motion picture. The Cat is back. Felix the Cat. The movie. With Poindexter. The Professor. And a galaxy of new friends. On a journey to majestic skies. Mystical lands. And magical scenes. Felix is ready with his bag of tricks.
To the land of Zill.
For the adventure of his life. All 9 of them. Felix the Cat. The movie. A landmark in cinema enchantment.
Honestly, we have a lot to talk about with the Felix the Cat movie, but we only have a little bit of time to work with here. But, what the heck was that? I mean, wow, that was, that trailer isn't even half of what this movie is, and the movie is crazy enough on its own. It's weird. You can definitely tell that there's effort being put into some of the animation in this, but man, this movie is all over the place. I remember watching this as a kid on videotape. We used to rent it from the farmer that we used to have around here, and I mean, at the time I liked it, but I was a kid. I was a little kid. I mean, I would watch anything back then, pretty much, and it would always be on the Disney Channel too. And years later, when I finally rewatched it again, it's just like, slowly but surely, you start realizing that this movie has no point whatsoever, and it really has nothing to do with Felix the Cat's. The story itself has nothing really to do with Felix the Cat himself. It's just like they just create this random assortment of different things throughout the movie. These different stories that don't make a lot of sense. These different universes that don't make a whole lot of sense. I mean, there's characters in here who look like something out of an anime, but then there are characters who look like swamp creatures you would see on a Saturday morning cartoon by Hanna-Barbera in the 1980s. And then you'd have scenes with Felix the Cat and the Professor and his assistant Poindexter from the TV series. And it's just like, what's going on here? What is going on in this movie? Animation will just sometimes do things for no reason whatsoever. There will be things where like I said, there'll be elements where a character will be talking and then nothing will be going on in the scene, and then you'll hear somebody still talking with the music all over the place. It's a complete mess of a movie when you watch it again through clearer eyes nowadays. It's just like, what were they thinking when they made this movie? Was this a movie where they were about to lose the rights to the character and they wanted to make more stuff with him, and it's just like, well, we got to make something here. We can't make a competent movie, so we'll just throw whatever garbage we can and then put this out there and say, hey, it's Felix the Cat the movie. We still get to keep the rights. And it's just like, man, it's just like, I can't believe that the people who made this character allowed this project to come out the way it did. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if they said, you know what, we don't want to be in Roger Rabbit, because Felix the Cat would have probably worked in Roger Rabbit, but we don't want to do Roger Rabbit. We're going to put the money into our own movie. And it's just like, it's his loss, even though he does show up in the tunnel at the beginning of Toontown. But that's it. I mean, you don't see him in that movie. But I don't know if that was the case or not. But I would be mad. I would be mad if someone said we'd had a chance to get be in a movie with Bugs Bunny, Mickey Mouse, and all those characters, and said, no, we're just going to make our own movie. It's going to be whatever. It's just going to be stuff thrown at the wall. Anything that will stick, even if it doesn't, we'll just keep trying. And it's just like, yeah, it's just like, it's a mess of a movie. And even the studio knew it was a mess. They picked it up in '87. It actually premiered in theater in Los Angeles in 1989, early January '89. It was supposed to come out at Thanksgiving '88, pushed to '90. Then New World shelved it altogether because of financial issues, and then it finally makes it to video in '91. Disney actually had to pick it up on videotape, and like I said, it was a staple of Disney Channel programming throughout the '90s, early '90s at least. And I mean, it's a mess. It's a mess of a movie all around. And like I said, there's really... You could definitely tell that there was some potential in the animation. Sometimes the animation sometimes doesn't look all that bad, but you get this nice look. But it's the styles they choose. There's so many different styles in here that they don't mesh together whatsoever. And it just completely falls apart at the seams almost immediately. And it's a disaster. It's a disaster of a movie. It's just like, as much as I hate the Tom and Jerry movie, the Tom and Jerry movie was at least tried, even though it failed miserably. But we'll get to that when we get to that one in '93. But it didn't fail as miserably as this. This was a bad decision by these people. But and sadly, Felix the Cat hasn't had that much of a comeback ever since then. I mean, he was a staple for a long time in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. But he's had a couple TV shows since this movie came out, which had the voice of Cow and Chicken and Buster from Tiny Toons. Charlie Adler doing the voice at one point on CBS in the '90s, which I've only seen little bits and pieces of it, but it's at least a lot better than this. But they really haven't done anything with him ever since then, and it's kind of a shame. Like, this character is one of those long-time characters, like Woody Woodpecker. Like, if you get it in the right hands, somebody could make a good movie or a TV series with this character, and nobody's really doing anything with him, probably because the movie ended up being as bad as it was. And I don't think I even need to say any more about this movie. It's a mess of a film. If you remember watching it when you were little, just like me, yeah, you probably know that it's really bad. So anyway, that's Felix the Cat, the movie. So let's go ahead and move on to the actual movie that came out this weekend. Surprisingly better than Felix the Cat, even though it's not really that great. It's Slumber Party Massacre Part 3.
Summertime. And the only thing the girls of Malibu Beach need is good music, good friends, and guys.
So, what's it worth to you?
I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, a guy like that, this is the kind of guy we need at the party tonight.
They just invited the wrong guy. It began the most terrifying horror series of the decade. Now, the Driller Killer's back. Slumber Party Massacre, Part 3.
So here's a fun fact about this series. The first movie was actually written and directed by Amy Holden Jones. If that name doesn't sound familiar to you right away, you've definitely seen her work before. If you watched Fox recently, you've seen her work on The Resident. You've also seen her writing skills on Beethoven, the first one in the Decent Proposal show. So she actually has a legitimate resume to her name, and got her start with Roger Corman with the first Slumber Party Massacre. Now, I say this because she has nothing to do with this movie, and this trailer makes this movie look pretty bad. It looks like pure garbage, and even though it has developed a cult following like the other two movies, it's considered by many as the worst of the trilogy. It's kind of like the Sleepaway Camp movies. They're movies that are terrible, but they keep making them regardless of how bad they are, because there will always be a following for bad movies like this. And Roger Corman movies can be fun, but judging by this, there's really nothing here that I would think that people would find interesting or fun. It's pretty much kind of like, it's just feels like a generic slasher film. It doesn't really feel like a movie that really took itself that seriously. They just want to make a quick buck right away. They know this isn't going to do well at the box office, but it's going to kill on video and midnight media and mom and pop video stores back then, and it did exactly what it needed to do. Which, even though it had a budget of only $350,000 and made back $1 million, so some worked in their favor, I guess. So, but I've never seen these movies, so I can't really comment on them. So, anyway, Slumber Party Massacre 3, it happened. It's Roger Corman. What could you possibly expect from him except something like this? So with that said, that's going to wrap up another edition of Time About the Movies and wrap up another week. We won't see each other again until Sunday night here. And we'll start the new week off by looking at the movies that were released on the weekend of September 14th. There are 7 movies to look at, including Meryl Streep in Postcards from the Edge, Jean-Claude Van Damme in Death Warrant, Hardware, Leslie Nielsen in The Exorcist spoof comedy with Linda Blair, Repossessed, State of Grace, White Hunter Black Heart from Clint Eastwood, and Fools of Fortune. So those are the movies that we'll be looking at when we get back here on Sunday. Tomorrow on the channel, I have a new Movie Stuff episode where I will see Jurassic World Dominion and give you my thoughts on that in my quick review after the film. And I'll show off some of the things that I've gotten over the last couple of weeks that I haven't been able to show off, but we'll definitely have a look at those on the next Movie Stuff episode. So, with that said, thank you guys for watching so much. If you want to see more videos like this, check out the playlist on the next page, check out the previous episode, and I'll see you guys Sunday for a new Time About the Movies. If you're going to join me for Movie Stuff tomorrow, I'll see you then. And until then, take care.